me and some other content creators were able to get together and talk about our stories on how JRPGs affected our lives. As you've known, for those who have been around on, my streams and everything I do, JRPGs have affected my life in a very different way, I would say. I mean, heck, I even got a Trail of Cold Steel custom-made print back there for Trails of Cold Steel 3. It was one of those series that really affected me and, I really enjoyed. But as JRPGs as a whole, I started with Pokemon, specifically Pokemon Crystal. That is my all-time favorite Pokemon game. I put many hours traveling from North Carolina to New Jersey and back on a Game Boy Color, sitting in the back, as well as a Game Boy Advance SP for when Emerald and stuff came out. But Pokemon Crystal is where I really took off when it came to JRPGs. Now, I fell off for a little while without realizing that Kingdom Hearts and stuff of that nature was a JRPG. But when I got out of high school, this is where I really took up with JRPGs. I was lost. I didn't know who I was. I was trying to figure out who I was, where I belonged, and that's when I discovered Persona 4. Persona 4 is the JRPG and series that affected my life and how I have this positive outlook right now. This is how I have become way better of a person. I realized that there are people that love me for me. I've gone out and done a bunch of things I would never have done because of those friends. And that's because Persona 4 as a whole, its story between you being essentially a blank slate in the Persona series, but you being Yu Norakami, who's been shipped out to the boonies by his parents for a year, discovering, there's, even though you're in the middle of nowhere, there are plenty of good people that like you for you, and you discover their true selves. You help them discover who they really are, and that there are friends around you that are going to like you no matter what you are, how you really feel, and everyone has these emotions. You don't have to cover it up. You can be yourself, and there are going to be plenty of people that love you and appreciate you for who you are. Not to mention that, like, the whole story itself is very well written. Golden adds onto it. Just JRPGs as a whole has affected my personality, who I am. Heck, even my VTuber persona, there is an effect of JRPGs in that and how I'm going to run stuff once my 2.0 comes out. JRPGs are who I am and very, very much affect how I am as a person. Because of that, I'm able to be kind, and I've gotten through a lot of hard things, especially with Persona 5 and the story messages that they push along. Trail of Cold Steel is one of the most well-written pieces of modern literature, and in the sense of video games, that I have come across. The series, the Legend of Hero series, is beyond fantastic and underrated in my opinion. But I digress. The point is, JRPGs are super well loved in my community as well as me. And just don't listen to me, listen to my friends and their experiences.
What do Kingdom Hearts, Persona, and The World Ends With You have in common? They're all JRPGs that made a dent into the seaweed psyche. Hey there, I'm Anori Sweeda, dapper seaweed VTuber, and these are just a few JRPGs that are near and dear to my heart. Media in all of its forms has a chance to impact its audience, video games included. JRPGs, in particular, have a soft spot in my heart because there was always just something a little bit different than most games I'd see at the store. Kingdom Hearts blends major franchises of the East and West, and also makes you contemplate what makes a person. And why do so many have the same face? I just want to know. Anyway, I distinctly remember a line in Kingdom Hearts 2, something about even if life takes you away from the people you love, you'll always be connected in your heart.
And that was one stab to my growing psyche.
I stumbled into the Persona franchise, and I never wanted to come back out. The overall visual style, environments, and god-level music was already a big hook, but the discussion of real-life topics like the subconscious and seeing people being able to face themselves and their demons and grow as a person really stuck in my psyche. Yes, that was a pun. A base-level introduction to real-life topics like psychology and being heavily inspired by myths and various belief systems in the world and how it relates to the story just helped to open up different ways of seeing the world to me. And last but not least, 20, or The World Ends With You. It's quite possibly one of the most impactful games I've had in my life. If you couldn't tell, the overall style of the game and the music already had me hooked. It also delves into how people connect with one another, set in the locale of Shibuya. Oh my god, I want to go to Japan. Now, I don't want to spoil the game for anyone because it is a ride I would recommend anyone to take. Really cool battle system too. So, let's just say experiencing Neku's worldview change while also going through that time that everyone takes coming into your own person. It stuck with me. Something that has helped shape my worldview is actually a line from my favorite character in the series. The world ends with you. If you want to enjoy life, expand your world. You gotta push your horizons out as far as they'll go. And I think that's what I love about the JRPGs I tend to play. They all contemplate what being human is on some level and encourage the exploration of the self. Now, this isn't to say that non-JRPGs can't also do this, it's just that a lot of the ones I attune to turn out to be JRPG. And at the end of the day, I pushed my own horizons by taking the chance to play these games. They helped me grow my world, and I can see so much more now. Did I mention you can fight God?
Hello there, everybody on Joe's channel. My name is Nightwolf. I am your local mercenary captain, and Joe graciously allowed me to come here today to talk about how JRPGs have affected me and what makes me love them so much. I guess I was bouncing back and forth between several ideas, and then it kind of hit me. So let me briefly talk about probably something that is very near and dear to my heart, as it were. And that's 3 particular characters from 3 different series. They are Fate Line God from Star Ocean 3, one of Tales of Xillia's protagonists, Jude Mathis, and of course, Rien Schwarzer. Now, some people might be wondering, why are these 3 characters important to me, or what about them is unique to me? It makes me not only love JRPGs, but also how they've affected my life. And basically, the best way that I could put it is that these 3 characters are what I like to call the responsible character type. But basically, these 3 characters are very, very, very important in the sense that the reason why these characters resonate with me as a player a lot is because they're kind of put in a position where they have to grow up a lot faster than others. And that relates to me on a personal level because I lost my dad at a very young age. And due to that, I've had to kind of grow up a little bit faster than other people. And these 3 characters, at least to me, represent that in a way. And I guess, especially when I was younger, I didn't understand the weight and responsibilities that I had to deal with. You know, being the more responsible adult, or being the male adult in a family, the oldest, and having to try and find ways to support the family. But as I've grown older, I've come to realize that, like, those types of things are really hard, and it weighs on people. And it weighs on these characters sometimes, too, in a lot of ways. And I guess in a sense that their relationships with characters, the way they've had to contend and deal with growing up, or revelations about themselves, is very relatable. And I think that because of that, I resonate with them. And that's one of the many reasons why I love JRPGs as a whole, is because of the storytelling, and that we can find characters that we can relate to in some form or fashion. I'd like to thank Joe for the opportunity to come on here and talk a little bit with you guys. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you, Joe Schmmo, for letting me ramble about JRPGs for a quick second. So JRPGs are some of my personal favorite genres in video games. I love RPGs, but JRPGs just tickle my fancy a little more. They have always been a part of my life. Like, the first JRPG that I ever played was Pokemon Silver for the Game Boy Color. I love that game, and I wasn't aware that it was an RPG. I just thought it was fun. And actually, here is the Game Boy Color that my older brother had. It is the Pokemon Gold and Silver variant. It probably doesn't work anymore. I gotta check it out. One of my favorite memories of the genre was with Kingdom Hearts. I just couldn't beat Riku in Hollow Bastion. I had a friend who said that he was able to beat him, so I invited him over to my house. Somehow that got around to all the local kids. I guess the rumor was that we were gonna beat the entire game that day, so everybody came over. It was about an hour of us trying to beat Riku. So just like imagine like 8 to 10 preteen boys in a living room just playing Kingdom Hearts on a giant big screen TV. And it wasn't like a flat screen TV, it was like one of these. Funnily enough, we didn't beat him that day. So I eventually beat the whole game, but that day we didn't win. From there, I wanted to play more Square-soft games. I would eventually find Final Fantasy VII because of one of my friends, and I actually picked up Final Fantasy VIII for the PlayStation at a flea market for about $5. I played it, and that's when I knew that this is what I wanted more of. Even now, I'd rather play a JRPG as opposed to a first-person shooter. And I'm always going back to the classics because of the highly motivated and constantly updated fan translation scene. There's always new games to be played. Granted, they're new for us, but they're old for Japan. I think being into anime, manga, and TCGs help as to why I like JRPGs so much, but I don't think you need to really like all of those things to enjoy the games. Just the love of a great story and an amazing characters. Take care, Joe. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Hello, my name is Tater King, and the question of how have JRPGs affected my life is actually a kind of embarrassing one, but not for the fact that JRPGs affected me, more so the fact of how it came to be. I grew up in a small town in Kentucky where the educational system and anything to deal with as such was kind of lackluster. Not neglected, we still had wonderful teachers, wonderful staff, but it wasn't top priority for most parents, students, or otherwise. So growing up, on top of having learning disabilities such as ADHD and a very mild form of dyslexia, I had a lot of trouble learning how to read. And that's where the embarrassing part comes in, because I was not necessarily illiterate, but on the verge of until maybe 3rd or 4th grade. Even simple stuff, like reading my name and stuff like that. I knew my own name, but if I seen it in writing, it didn't click with me. And that's where video games come in. While I was growing up, I was really into video games, the ones I had access to. Being from a small town, we weren't really financially stable, so I really wasn't able to play many games, just what I could get my hands on from secondhand stores or flea markets, like Brainlord, a game I got on SNES that I extremely loved, or games like Draken, a game I found at a flea market that I played for hours, or Soul Blazer, another game that I found at a secondhand store that I absolutely loved, but had no clue what any of the text was saying. I was going purely off instinct. And then came the wonderful day when my mother bought me a PlayStation 1 for Christmas. She also bought me the original Persona, which I played for hours. Legend of Dragoon, another game that I could have easily beat multiple times without reading a single word. And Final Fantasy VII, an all-time classic that everyone knows by now. And then came the game that changed my life forever, and it was Final Fantasy VIII. The music, the art, the world, the character models, everything resonated in my mind and my heart so well that it pushed me to learn how to read. I got so engrossed by the story, like what was happening around me, but not being able to know what was going on, that I would write down all the phrases that I could trace, or the words that I could write myself, and I would take them to people who knew how to read and write properly, because that game had such a grip on me that I wanted to learn. So in short, it helped me want to push myself to get a better education, to learn how to read so that I can understand what was going on along with the stuff that I learned in a community and a school system that just didn't care to actually try and help.
JRPGs are such good games. They tell incredible stories with amazing characters, worlds, and game mechanics. I've learned a lot of life lessons from these games. I would go as far to say that some of them have taught me how to live my life. Persona, Atelier, Ys, Hyperdimension Neptunia, Kingdom Hearts. But the one that impacted me the most was The World Ends With You. This game was all about life and death, people fighting for the chance to live. So the first game was all about opening up to others and enjoying life. It's called The World Ends With You because it's one of the main messages of the game. It revolves around that phrase. It goes, enjoy every moment with all you got. The world ends with you. If you want to enjoy life, expand your world. You gotta push your horizons out as far as they'll go. It's sort of a one is all and all is one kind of message. The second game tackles similar themes, but adds on to it by making it about taking the future into your own hands to live a better life. All the while, everything's coded in this 2000s emo punk looking aesthetic. The life messages in these games are something that I live by to this day. I played these games during a time in my life when I was lost and confused about what I wanted to do with it. But after taking the game's messages to heart, I ended up enjoying every little moment in my life, and I decided to tackle my future head on. It's filled me with a lot of determination. There's a reason why my entire channel pulls from the aesthetic of these games. Even my model is based on one of the characters. My entire online identity probably wouldn't exist without these games, so I highly recommend them. And if you're looking to get into the games now, then I have a few words for you.
Listen up, Septigrams! In terms of writing and theming, the first game does everything better. If you're playing the first game, I'd recommend playing the DS for the best experience. If you have a Switch or a smartphone, then that works too. There's also an anime adaptation for the first game if you want to jump right into the second one. Because in terms of overall gameplay, the second game is where it's at. So play The World Ends With You. 10 out of 10, great games.
So as you see, there's a bunch of good stories passed along with all these people that I've been able to get together and tell their story. Go please follow them, check them out, take a listen to what they got to do on their regular basis, look at all the things that they do. It's a good time, I'm telling you. Go and enjoy it, go listen to them. Let me know what RPGs or JRPGs you have played down below, how they affected you, how they have improved your life, how they have affected the people around you. I want to hear your stories. So please share them with me. I love you all, I appreciate you all, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!